It's because, again, this Satoshi foresaw the improvement in computer and chips. And he's like, we need a way to make it harder for the improvement from Moore's Law, right? It's unbelievable, basically, the thinking on this. This is why, as one Michael Saylor would say, this is the greatest invention. This is like the English, this is like,
I think
this is like
Jack
language.
Butcher said this on Invention of the Year or whatever we did one point.
Of the century.
Of the century, sorry. Not
You know
the
what? I might,
You'll come round to it eventually, boys. You'll come round.
we have to go back to that because I was roasting Jack about I'm like, this is better.
The comments
Dude,
we got on that as well.
vaccines?
I remember the comments were.
I'm like, it's better than
were funny.
vaccines. And then Jack might be right, man. So
Welcome to another episode of No Investment Advice. You've got Jack Butcher and Bilal Zaidi Trung Phan. Boys, absolutely mental week. We got Google's quantum computing chip Willow announced. This probably could be a whole episode, boys, because we got lots to cover there. We're going to probably be talking about AI agents and the crypto intersection of crypto and AI. A little bit on United Healthcare. Trung's going to break some of that down for us. Update from Jack on his cool art stuff he's been working on. And we'll see if we get to Intel Taylor Swift. There's a bunch to talk about.
we definitely got to do Taylor Swift because I went to the concert. So we'll do that one.
All right,
Yeah.
perfect. Let's get on to the Google's quantum computing chip. Boy, what the hell is going on? Because this is mental. Jack, you just posted one of your most viral tweets in a while, right? You were feeling like Trung Phan for a day, you said.
Caught the wind of the algo yesterday.
Guy,
boys.
can we put it? Can
Incredible.
we throw it up? That was
Jack,
meme
you got
of the
it up
week.
here?
Yeah, but throw it up, guys. Jack Butcher with meme of the week. Not only is Jack back, he's hitting the meme of the weeks, people. This is why.
You see this?
Yeah, so read it. Read it out loud.
Read it out,
A
mate.
quantum computer just solved a 10 over 25 year problem in 5 minutes, and you're laughing.
Jack, please explain to the people
2.9 million views.
why almost 3 million people, exactly like Bilal said, were jumping all over this.
Mate, I'm still confused myself, but I think the our friend of the pod, Sundar Pichai.
Friend of the pod.
Bilal's former colleague.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly.
1 degree of separation.
Yeah.
Tweeted yesterday about a new quantum chip that they've been developing that can run a computation that was supposed to would take the most powerful computer in the world to date more time than the universe has existed to solve. Right?
That's 10 to the 20. Wait, Jack,
Yeah.
so that's
To the
10 to the
power
exponent
25,
of
yeah?
25.
Or exponent
Yeah.
20.
Like,
And
as
it's
my son
10
is learning
septillion.
math, right? I'm teaching my son 10 to the power of 2.
Yeah.
He's not fully grasping yet how quickly exponentials go. He's like, Dad, 10 to the power of 2, so that's 100? I'm like, yeah. But wait till you get to 10 to the power of 3. That's 1,000.
Yeah.
He's like, Dad, I'm not ready for this. But Jack's
And
saying 10 to
he'll
the power
be
of
teaching
25.
you about 10 septillion years
Yeah.
real quick. But this is mad. Did you guys read the blog post? You've obviously been reading what's going on. There's lots of implications of this.
Let's call out the before we explain why this is relevant, particularly for one of the big narratives was crypto related. Let's talk about why the most viral passage from it. I'll read it to you guys now. Oh, this is the paragraph. This is the one that people lost their mind on. Willow's performance on this benchmark is astonishing. It performed a computation in under 5 minutes that would have taken today's fastest supercomputer 10 septillion years. That's what Bilal said. I've never heard of that word before in my life.
Same, yeah.
If you
So is
want
the
to write
animal.
it out, that is 10 with, I'm looking at the number now, is whatever, 25 zeros after. Okay, here it goes. This mind-boggling number exceeds known timescale in physics and vastly exceeds the age of the universe. It lends credence to the notion that quantum computation occurs in many parallel universes, in line with the idea that we live in a multiverse.
I love they just tucked that in there.
First made by David Deutsch. Bro, literally casually tucked in that they discovered the multiverse. But let's talk about Bitcoin here because that's what the non-investment advice people are here for. No one's here to listen.
But Trung, or one of you, could you
Yes.
explain for someone who's never heard? A lot of people have heard the phrase quantum computing because I want to
Okay,
get to the.
I'll explain it.
But what is it?
I'll read it here.
Why is
Okay.
it even important?
Let's read from Dan Held, a great a Bitcoin holder for sure. Dan Held. That's a nice pun that people like to say. Dan's got a great Substack to check out, the Held Report. He wrote this article in 2021. It asks, it posits the question, Bilal, can quantum computing kill Bitcoin? So I'll give you guys the TLDR answer is probably not. But the basics of quantum computing, yeah, just for the listeners, just threw up an X. So the basics of quantum
Did you
computing.
say-
Computers we use today have classical processors, which operate with bits to encode either a 0 or a 1. Quantum computers use quantum bits or qubits. These can encode a 0, 1, or both states simultaneously. So that completely changes it, right? If anybody does like odds making, you understand that when you do a parlay and you add like a third or fourth thing, it blows the odds up, right? So instead of 0 or 1,
I
there's
love that as the example.
You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
you
It's
mean
like-
it's
The
timesing
Barstool
the odds,
analogy.
yeah,
probability.
it's the Barstool analogy.
versus-
And well, here's
yeah.
too, is like before I finish Dan's a really well written article here. I suggest everybody read it. We'll put it in the comments or the notes. Is Einstein talks about this. So this is what's famous about Einstein. He have you guys heard the quote from Einstein that says God doesn't play dice? Have you guys heard that?
I don't think so. No.
Basically,
It sounds like a quote from that Matt Damon in a movie or something.
yeah, no, it's like
That's a
so
banger.
basically what there's always been this friction of physics, right? So the TLDR 50,000 foot level that I'm going to butcher about physics is that there's like, classical physics, the Newtonian world that we all know, gravity, force, reciprocal force. There's also the quantum world. And like Einstein basically spent the last 30 years of his life arguing over whether or not quantum physics existed, because quantum physics doesn't follow the laws of broader physics. This is why you guys have heard this, right? The unified theory of physics. You've heard this. People trying to unify these ideas of physics. Well, quantum is what kind of blew Einstein's mind. And what he didn't understand was that quantum physics basically says things are not deterministic. It's based on probability. And that like an atom can exist in two places at once. And it's like this level of physics, which is way too complicated for this, but this is relevant to us because quantum computing is basically operating in this other world where it's not just 0 and 1. It's 0, 1, or both at the same time, right? This is the idea of Schrodinger's cat. Is a cat dead or alive? If you look at it, it's alive. If you don't look at it, it's dead, right? It's just shit that's blowing people's minds. But there's shit about physics we just don't
Did
understand.
you kill it?
Yeah, did you kill it? And like the whole point being though is that you add this third variable, it completely changes how you can do
It's
computations.
supercomputer on steroids, something
Yeah.
that we can't even comprehend mathematically, right?
This is the quote that Dan has.
That's what it
When you can
translates
have
to.
both states simultaneously, so not just a 0 or 1, which is how we understand computing in the classical sense, it allows for exponentially faster processing for certain types of math problems. Jack, what type of math problem is related to quantum computing that Dan here is referring to?
SHA 256, you may be referring to.
Jesus Christ, 250.
For the listeners, that would be the Bitcoin mining. Is that right, Jack? That's related to
Proof of
Bitcoin
work.
mining. The proof of work.
Yeah, and maybe the
It's the encryption algorithm for Bitcoin mining, right? That's what it is.
like this was written about, I think, even back to Bitcoin Forum, Satoshi foreseeing the development of quantum computers. And I believe the Willow chip is 105 qubits.
Yes.
And to get close to cracking Bitcoin encryption, you need 1 million qubits.
Right.
And there's obviously
just
ways.
to be clear, we don't know what any of that means. Just the number has to be much bigger than it is, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
I
saying
have
13 million
it's-
qubits.
It's 100 or 1,000 times away from the level of sophistication it would require to start attacking that in a meaningful way.
Let me quote Kevin Rose. You guys know Kevin Rose, right?
Yeah, I've literally got that tweet out right now too.
Right,
For
you
us.
got it. So you want to read it, Bilal?
Sorry, go on. No, you could go for it.
So Kevin Rose was the co-founder of Dig, right? Obviously, big internet personality, big into crypto. In the last couple of years, he asked,
Jack
"Can
did
Google?"
a pod with him, right? Jack, you did his pod.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did
yeah.
the Kevin Rose podcast. Okay, so friend of the pod. Kevin Rose asked,
Did a pod again, yeah.
"Can Google's Willow crack Bitcoin?" And then he writes basically what Jack just said, but I'll read it out here because this went viral. Virality is all that we count for authority, by the way, at the NIA podcast.
Truth. You are the media, Tron.
Yeah. Estimates indicate that compromising Bitcoin's encryption would necessitate a quantum computer with approximately 13 million qubits, what Jack just said, to achieve decryption within a 24-hour period. In contrast, Google's Willow chip, while a significant advancement, comprises 105 qubits. We have a way to go. Nonetheless, this is a remarkable leap forward in quantum computing. I think Kevin actually worked at Google for a while. Way
Yeah,
back
he was
in the
Google
day.
Ventures, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, he's Google Ventures. Okay. So
And this stuff does not progress linearly. It's also to give the the fair take on the other side of it is this isn't going to 106 the next time they run it, right?
Right.
Well, the other thing I'd say, Jack, and we can come back to this as well, but there has been other discussions around you don't need to hack the whole network. You can basically just go after Satoshi's wallet. If that was actually compromised, then that would obviously be a big issue. Really quickly, beyond just the Bitcoin part, because I want to go into that more, but this is not just a Bitcoin problem, right? This is like all your passwords.
It would be Armageddon if this thing got broken.
We'd have much bigger problems than the Bitcoin network if that was the case.
The entire encryption industry, messages, passwords, banking we know would be obliterated, right?
Yeah, exactly. And obviously the point here is this is just a scientific development. All the people working in this space will be getting ahead of this, like including people in the Bitcoin world, to make more secure wallets, to create security to account for all of this sort of stuff.
To make even colder storage. However cold do you think the storage is?
In multiple
I think it would actually
dimensions.
It would actually be like a protocol upgrade, right? It would be.
It would be like a fork in the road.
Dan talks about it right here, so I'll actually bring that up. So Dan brings up a great point about what Jack had mentioned, the hashing algorithm, the SHA-256. He actually makes a great point. He says even if you granted the number that Jack has said, whatever, 13 million qubits, he's like, well, the whole point about Bitcoin is it has a built-in defense against Bitcoin mining, right? It's the difficulty adjustment. And he's like, I'm going to read it out now, right? He goes, what is a difficulty adjustment? As more miners join the network automatically adjusts to the additional hash rate that joined the market by making it more difficult to mine a block. I think most people intuit that. Because there's only 21 million blocks, it's getting harder and harder to mine them. And so the math problems are getting harder and harder. You need more and more compute. So this is done so the production of newly minted Bitcoins occur on a predictable issuance schedule. That's why. It's because, again, this motherfucker Satoshi foresaw the improvement in computer and chips. And he's like, we need a way to make it harder for the improvement from Moore's Law, right? It's unbelievable, basically, the thinking on this. This is why, as one Michael Saylor would say, this is the greatest invention. This is like the English, this is like
Jack
language.
Butcher said this on Invention of the Year or whatever we did one point.
Of the century.
Of the century, sorry, not the year.
You know what? We have to go
You'll
back
come
to
around
that.
to it eventually, boys. You'll come around.
I was roasting Jack about I'm like, this is better.
The comments we got on that as well. I remember the comments were.
I'm like, it's better than vaccines.
Funny.
And then Jack might be right, man. So Dan Hell continues. If a quantum computer or even an alien computer with 1 million times the aggregate computing power of Earth came here to mine Bitcoin, the network would just get harder. I mean, the adjustment would just get more difficult. It's actually pretty crazy, right? So Jack's like nodding his head. It's like, Trung, you're going to come around to me, buddy. Don't worry. So I'll bring up, let me just make up one more point from Dan and then we'll explore. I want to explore what quantum computing can do separately, like what is its use case other than destroying our Bitcoin bags.
Can I say one more thing before you go into that? Just on the
Yeah, go for it.
There was a great tweet I read this morning that said, I don't need to. There are many people that own Bitcoin that are so many magnitudes smarter than me that if this was a legitimate threat, it would already be trading at 5K. So I don't even worry about it.
Oh, like Saylor would be dumping.
The price would react to it so quickly if it was a legitimate threat that
never forget what
everything
is
is priced in, baby.
What is Saylor's background?
He went to MIT. What did he study?
Yeah, no, it was like, no, he's a rocket scientist, and on our podcast, he's like, what do you need to know? You need to know chemicals, physics, math. You don't think Saylor saw this Bitcoin quantum computing chip and he would have dumped his bags immediately? He knows. So here's the second thing that Dan held.
He did aeronautic and astronautics and science at MIT. That's pretty mad, I didn't realize.
So here we go. Last point I'll add before we talk about Bilal's future employers and how much money they're about to make for themselves. So
future employer, not even. Yeah.
So it says here, Dan brings up another thing, which is again way over my head because I'm just a spectator that only holds Bitcoin ETFs and no cold storage. but I'm riding those bags, buddy.
There we go.
Elliptical curve digital signature algorithm, ECDSA. The other type of encryption that quantum computing might impact is used to control your Bitcoin wallet. So you guys actually just mentioned that. And basically, he said that a strong enough quantum computer can basically reverse engineer the public keys and figure out the private keys, so you can steal existing bitcoins. And it's exactly what Jack and Bilal had said earlier. It would require a fork. There is a solution. You basically move the network over to a more secure, quantum defensive type of encryption. But man, I can't even imagine the headache that would be. But I guess Ethereum went through something similar with proof of work to proof of stake, right? It's possible, basically. What I'm saying, it's technically possible.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, pretty wild stuff. I mean, can I also read out? Did you see Elon Musk's response to Sundar's? I'll just share my screen.
Elon and Sundar?
I'll be honest, I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds great. So this is Sundar's original tweet introducing Willow. You guys have seen this already, right?
No, read it out because we didn't.
Introducing Willow, a new state-of-the-art quantum computing chip with a breakthrough that can reduce errors exponentially as we scale up using more qubits, cracking a 30-year challenge in the field in benchmark tests. Willow solved a standard computation in less than 5 minutes that would take a leading supercomputer over 10 to the power 25 years, far beyond the age of the universe. Absolutely mental, right? But yeah, so then we got lots of people responding. Vitalik's in here as well. Elon just responds, wow. And then Sundar said, we should do quantum cluster in space with Starship one day. These guys are just having a text conversation in public. That's what I love about this. And he's like, that will probably happen. Any self-respecting civilization should at least reach Kardashev type 2. I don't even know what this is, boys. Does anyone know what this means? But in my opinion, we're currently only less than 5% of type 1. Anyway, they keep going back and forth on this, but it is just kind of amazing. Like, if you go through some of these responses, the amount of stuff in here is pretty mental, boy.
Yeah, I mean, you can learn a ton just reading the replies.
I do think, honestly, there haven't been that many times where I've actually felt like, oh, this is actually legit big shift. Like, I don't know if this is even overhyped, what's actually going to come out of it, but the fact that they're even doing this is pretty sick. And
the last time I felt this way was when Fartcoin was released.
yeah.
Buddy,
you know what it reminds me? Remember LK99
market cap, not investment advice.
What was that, Jack? What was that again?
You remember LK99, the
the superconductor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That was true. Yeah. I was thinking of that too, but I forgot what it was. And then we were just like, we don't even understand what this means, but it sounds great. But
let me tie this up a bit, actually, with why Bilal's former employer might be able to really get some bags out of this. So here it is. What's funny is I've actually been using Gemini sometimes. So what are the main use cases for quantum computing? Here's Gemini's answer. Quantum computing is expected to revolutionize many fields by solving problems that are currently difficult for classical computers. Again, classical computers is zeros and ones, what we understand. Some of the main use cases for quantum computing: machine learning. You can look at more data and find more patterns because of this compute power. Drug development. You can also, again, with supercomputers that use this, way more processing power, find new drug development. Here's quantum cryptography, which we've been talking about. The translation for lay people: your Bitcoin bags might get fucking rugged. That's what quantum cryptography means. Yeah. Although, as we discussed,
super protected if it works the other way around,
Yeah,
so
exactly. Material sciences, batteries, a lot of applications. You'd imagine that with that type of computing power, with septillion, you could do some crazy stuff. And the last thought I had before I hand it off to you guys with any final thoughts is this. Let me do my last tweet. Like your guys' thoughts on this. It's a share. I'm pumping my own bags here, but here's what I wrote. Bilal, you want to read that quickly?
Yeah, do you know what? We're on the set. I had it teed up as well. That was good.
Yeah, why don't you give that a read?
Google is read the new Bell Labs. Let me read it on my screen. Google is read the new Bell Labs, just using the Monopoly search money printer to throw off new inventions. Waymo, AlphaFold, Transformer, Gen AI paper, Willow, quantum computing chips, and then triple unskippable back-to-back pre-roll YouTube ads. I love a good YouTube pre-roll ad. I mean, all jokes aside, though, I will say, I know we're messing around. The pre-roll ad, revolutionary in the advertising space.
Whoa. Bilal, explain yourself.
Well, the reason is because before that, what was the model before? I mean, let's go back. Google search ads. Before that, you paid for attention impressions only, pretty much. Like on TV, you're paying for impressions. And banner ads that were around, but they were kind of like really, poorly done. Google's the first one to create an auction where they did a cost per click model. So you're paying for the results that you cared about. and for YouTube specifically, you know how they work is you only pay if people watch the ad. So if they skip, you don't pay anything as an advertiser. Imagine that on YouTube, on TV, like you're watching 7-minute ads in a 30-minute TV show. They're paying for every single impression or eyeball that's watching that. But if you were like, actually, I'm DVR fast forwarding this, or I have a button to press, I don't want to watch this, the advertiser wouldn't pay anything. So that's how YouTube ads actually work. You don't pay unless someone chooses to engage with it. So I'm not trying to pitch it, but that is legit. It was quite a big change.
It is a breakthrough, like legitimately a breakthrough.
In my opinion, yeah, definitely. I mean, because before no one was doing that.
With the would you say it's on par with the Google search auction? No, I'm actually serious.
No, I think search was bigger still, auction, but I think this was just for video, because if you think of where video ads are in the funnel, it was like upper funnel and like awareness, whereas search is right at the bottom of the funnel. So that people were used to paying for results on the lower end of the funnel, but upper funnel, you're used to paying for awareness. So this was the first time, from my knowledge, that they said, well, we can do awareness ads, but we also want to make sure it's tied to what
so you're
people
basically
want to engage with.
That the pre-rolls turn in kind of like a direct response for video.
Yeah, partly, yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
It's at least got more of a direct response element to it, where you're paying for the result. And then there's more detailed ones like viewable metrics and stuff. Like that's a whole different thing. And then brand lifts, like you can measure stuff on like, did people see it and then go search on Google search? Like, was there an uplift in the actual awareness of that
because
sort of
they
stuff?
have that data. Wait, we're grilling Bilal here, people. I know people
No, this
love it
probably
when
boring
Bilal
for people,
drops
but
knowledge. Okay, so Bilal, no, they're gonna love this.
There we
this
go.
is your area of expertise. So would you say then that the what's the Mount Rushmore of digital ad units? Obviously, Google auction.
I think Google search ads. The Mount Rushmore. Yeah, this is the funny. Sorry, that's the most ridiculous line I've heard in a long time. It's a great line.
Micro targeting for Facebook and Instagram. That basically built that empowered millions of small businesses.
We're doing 4
Yeah, we gotta do 4.
Right?
Okay, what are the other
I'd say
2?
Google search ads. Yeah, I mean Instagram, Facebook ads.
Yeah.
Sorry, news feed, because that was key because it's in the feed, so it takes over the screen.
See, this
so
is fun.
That's another one. There we go.
And then YouTube.
And then I would personally put YouTube in there because I think other places have copied that. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on, Bilal. So you're not putting the Twitter ad unit in the Mount Rushmore?
I mean, not just yet, but we might get there. But all jokes aside, I mean, like, I hate ads on YouTube and I pay for premium. But do you know what's worse than skippable ads? Is unskippable ads. You know, because you can't even skip them. They're just in your face.
The triple unskippable ad.
There we go. Yeah, so they do have those.
Television.
Exactly. All right, let's get back onto it because I know people are going to tune out on that. But that was...
No,
dude, discussion.
People got
educated.
But
I do agree, the Bell Labs one isn't a bad shout because some of these are like the Transformer Gen AI paper, right? That's central to all the AI stuff that's happening. Waymo, obviously, massive development there. So yeah, that's a good shout.
Well, let's
obviously,
think about what Bell Labs made, man. Bell Labs did the transistor, which kicked off literally Silicon Valley, the silicon chips, the fax machine, data networking, under subsea cables, cellular telephones. Well, they actually didn't do very well on mobile. Solar cells, lasers, information theory.
Incredible.
It's like, listen, Google clearly has done some antitrust behavior, but they just had a better product. I know Google search is kind of sucking recently. I mean, that's just my opinion. That's not Bilal's opinion.
Yeah, 100%.
But no.
Agreed.
But yeah, man, it's like there's places in this world for big pots, giant pots of money, right? That's just Bell Labs and Google. Google didn't freaking commercialize the Transformer paper, or they are now. But
what
the
does
real
Peter
winners,
Thiel say, Trunk? Competition is for who?
winners or losers.
Yeah, losers, exactly. Also, we're going to talk about books and stuff later for another future podcast. But for people who haven't read The Idea Factory on Bell Labs, that's worth
that was my record last year.
Checking out. All right, should we move on from that, boys? Anything else? Any other? Well, Jack, did you have anything else to add on the Bitcoin part specifically, or?
No, I think we're good, boys. That was good.
That was a good discussion. All right, let's get on to Jack. I mean, let's do 5 minutes on this really quickly. But we mentioned the AI crypto overlap. You'd mentioned in the group chat a few weeks ago. And I've seen a bunch of stuff. There's people probably heard this phrase AI agents that's been going around. It's very hot topic right now. I guess like maybe let's frame why this is even a thing, because it sounds like taking two hype buzzwords and just putting them together, which is a lot of crypto. But there is actually some interesting real use cases here. So I'm just curious what your take has been on it.
So like AI and crypto has been like a big academic debate for a long time, and as you know, the most entertaining outcome is the most likely. Probably the biggest amount of volume and activity has come around these AI agent meme coin bots, right? They're mostly like writing filth on the timeline and just like getting as much attention as they can in the shortest period of time possible. And I swear we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago, but maybe not. Like the first one was kicked off by Mark Andreessen, like giving
we did
50 grand donation to that bot.
Yeah, he gave, yeah.
And
to
that
the bot
kind of,
to go trade it or something?
Yeah, exactly. And then that kind of has snowballed out into these different permutations of agents that are acting with some degree of autonomy. Who knows how much? Like there's obviously things that there's like varying degrees of moderation happening where people are like previewing all the outputs and then choosing what goes to Twitter, or I don't know if there's truly the ability for them to like custody and trade funds completely autonomously. But what I don't think we talked about last time was this DAOs.fun thing, which was where the AI16Z. So you have pump.fun, which is that one token, you know, like one token goes at bonding curve, and then eventually if it gets enough velocity, the liquidity pool is full and it trades everywhere. But this DAOs.fun idea is like, think of it as like a fund. So instead of a coin, it's a fund. Like it can manage a basket of crypto, and oftentimes they're connected to a specific Twitter account, and they're able to kind of meme their own narratives into existence, or kind of, remember we said like GOAT was the one that original truth terminal
do not Google
attached
that
itself
word.
to. Yeah. So just more of that going on, really. Like I would say I'm like peripherally experiencing it. Like I'm not this time around.
Means
I'm
you've
just
got
not.
a couple coins in the back pocket, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Which
just
you can't be shilling on here. But,
yeah, I mean, just like the speed at which the narrative is changing, and like how fast like somebody will develop a tool to spit these things out at an exponential rate. So the ones that make it to even the next week in terms of their narrative, it gets thinner and thinner. But I don't know. It's like very PvP, you know, like basically a marketing thing at the moment. It feels like.
Yeah. Well, Jack, can I just add, because Trung, I would love your take on this as well, but separate to the crypto part, just AI agents already. Sorry, there's sirens coming past, but it's all right. Obviously AI is a massive space, lots of different things happening, but the way I've seen it is before even using ChatGPT, we had, let's just say Google search. You search, you're doing research for something, you click 10 different links, you summarize it in your own head, you write notes, whatever. Then came ChatGPT, that interface, because people think of ChatGPT as the AI, but AI is like the knowledge base, like up here, and the chat is really the interface. This is only one way of.
What's the form factor, right? Like ultimately,
exactly.
And you nailed it, Bilal. Like the way we
agent is kind of going the next step. It's kind of like, so yeah, the ChatGPT would summarize those 10 links for me and give me a summary, or I could ask it to write an article about it or a tweet or whatever. The AI agent is taking that, but imagine 10, 15, 20 different tasks, 100 different tasks.
Book
and
me a
figuring
trip
out,
to Hawaii.
Exactly.
Give them a hotel, deal with it, you're done, right? Like that's
and
the
it
idea.
understands enough of the context, it understands your preferences, and it understands that, like a decision tree, like we're going left or we're going right, but hundreds of permutations of that. So that's kind of how I've thought about it. And then if you think of, well, if there's going to be AI agents, you know, being created for all sorts of different use cases, how are they going to interact with using money, right? So at some point they're going to need to have that financial layer, and they're probably going to have some sort of crypto rails because it's digitally native.
What moves at the speed
Exactly. Well, they're
internet.
not going to be using ACH, are they? Let's be honest.
Yes.
Like that's waiting 5 days for something. At the same time, I will say stable coins probably are going to be used as
Yeah.
well. So that's an interesting use case. So there is real like idea of why these AI agents would need to use crypto in this case. But then like a lot of these things, how it's actually implemented right now is 90% marketing, 10% someone actually making something. So
You know,
definitely worth checking out.
David Sachs tweeted in 2017, AI agents will conduct commerce with each other using micropayments in cryptocurrency. 2017 made the new crypto czar
Czar.
of the United States
AI
government.
and cryptos. Wait, have people been pulling that tweet up?
Yeah, man.
That's
As
funny.
soon as he got announced, it was everybody's looking
Pumping
for keywords
everything.
of his opinion on everything. But
Also, I love that it's like he's the czar of both AI and crypto. That tweet I sent to you guys, it's like the B2B SaaS one, where it was
Yeah,
like
nice,
something like
yeah.
the new crypto and AI czar is really
Yeah.
working in B2B SaaS.
Yeah.
It's so good. it's so perfect. But all right.
No, but he's got it. But he clearly.
Oh, he's
the
landed
key here is
something
he's
there.
so plugged into the industry, right? That's what the point of this
Oh
job
yeah,
is.
for sure. Yeah. I mean, he definitely has some experience. If we go back to the Solana episode on the All In Pod, where do you remember that? What happened with the Solana?
Oh yeah.
That
course.
nice little pump.
Oh yeah.
Talking of pump.fun, that was definitely. All right. Anyway, so yeah, let's see how our guy David Sachs does in that role. Anything else on that, boys? Before we move on to the next couple topics.
Well, how we let's get Jack's recent
Jack,
shenanigans.
you did some cool stuff. You did some physical. We're talking about ones and zeros, but you've been doing some physical action here on the sculpture side. Let's check it out, man.
all right. Let me pull up a
This was Miami, right? Or
tabs. Yeah.
for Art
So
Basel.
correct. So let me pull this up first. So we might have even talked about the original piece on the pod back in the day. 2020. When was this? 2022 maybe, or 2021. So I made this piece way back. It's called Work. When
Yo,
was it
that's
minted?
sick.
Yeah, July 2021. So yeah,
People who are
originally.
just listening, Jack, could you just
Oh, sorry.
describe
Yeah.
what it
So
looks
it's four iterations of a human hand. The one on the left hand side is this like David-esque marble sculpture, and then it loses fidelity as it goes across the four. So the second one is like a little bit more of a straight lines, polygon style. The third one looks like a physical mouse, and then the fourth one is the classic like 90s UI mouse clicker that you would see as you hover over something on your screen. So it's a commentary on this evolution of labor, work, computing, AI, all of these themes.
Amazing.
Capturing that in a single image was the idea. And about 6 months ago, started working with Asprey, which is a British jeweler,
Whoa.
That is sick.
250-year-old silversmith, and they cast this in silver. This is like these are a little bit larger than life size, made of solid silver, and interestingly, like extending the commentary, because these were made by hand, but I think there's like 3 or 4 guys in England that are even able to work on something at this scale in solid silver. So they've been working on it for months and months, and turned it into this
amazing.
sculpture. And then
Looks
the final
sick too.
piece, thank you very much. The final kind of, let me see if I can pull up the next bit. Actually, there's a process piece there. So they
Oh wow.
they cut this out of silver. It's too big to be molded, so they'll cut it out of silver and then blast it, polish it, shape it, cut it, and it's obviously a long and tedious process with those 4 very different,
That
very
is
different forms.
sick, man. That is sick.
Incredible craftsmanship by them. And then one little Easter egg, boys. There's this thing called the Assay Office in the UK, which is essentially the official ledger of hallmarks. So you have,
Man.
Asprey, the jewelry maker. You have King Charles now. You have the stamps that are attributed to these different materials, their density and weight and quality. And we're actually able to get VV and the check mark added to the official assay office ledger in the UK, which is like the first of in many, many decades that they've accepted a new mark. And again, this commentary, like the extension of authenticating objects, which has been so much a part of the commentary in crypto art, the stuff that I'm actually interested in is like, how do you prove this was yours? How do you prove somebody made this? What's the connection to the author? And this is like maybe the highest fidelity example of that in the real world is like an official hallmark. These guys keep a ledger in the same way that Ethereum keeps a ledger. And so to try to make a thoughtful expression of a digital work in the real world, and got to show it at a little dinner in Miami last week in person.
Wait, cool. But Jack, you only did one of those.
There's probably going to be this is the first and only one, but then we may do a very small edition, so like probably 3.
Dude, you man,
that's beautiful, man.
The arc of Jack's digital to physical, it's been incredible to watch, man.
No, really.
Thank you, boys. I appreciate it.
Sick. So,
thank you, boys.
So Jack, did they auction this, or is that not even happening?
It's like so they have it's available, and they have like a pretty deep client base that collects from them. So they're showing it at the moment to some of their collectors. But in the next few weeks we'll figure out what's happening with it.
No, I'm not saying it's one of my favorite things you've done. It's because it's the full, digital, but and it actually just looks sick as well. Because it's sometimes you can have a cool story, but it's like, oh, okay, nice. But this actually you could see someone putting this out somewhere nice. You know what I mean? Very, very cool.
I hope so. Yeah. Well, hopefully it lands in a good spot in the next couple of weeks.
Love it, mate. Thanks for sharing that.
Cheers, boys.
And on a nice transition note, Trung, did you want to talk about United Healthcare?
Yeah, let's do it.
No. We're not gonna do that first. We're gonna do Taylor Swift. I'll put my tinfoil hat on for you guys. But
all right, let's do that.
So Taylor Swift concert wrapped up last weekend. The Errors tour. Did you guys go to any of the shows? I know Melina did.
Yeah, Melina did. I didn't go.
In LA.
Yeah, she went to LA. I think so. Yeah.
What was the review?
Said it was great. Yeah, loved it.
Unbelievable, right?
Yeah, so, you went in Vancouver, right?
Yeah, so last 3 shows was in Vancouver, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I went on the Saturday show, but I'll tell you guys the funny backstory going, because I was going to go solo, and then I'm like, I don't know if I want to go solo. It's going to be like me, like sitting around a bunch of 13-year-old girls and their parents and their mom and just getting gassed, right? Like drinking the $15 beers. I'm like, I don't know if I will. So I was like a little bit hesitant, but I'll walk through the numbers of the concert here. So number 1 all time, first concert to break $2 billion. This is inflation adjusted. So the top 7 concerts of all time are, and I'll throw you guys the screen right now. Tell me which ones of these ones you guys actually gone to, actually. Curious if you guys can see that chart. For the listeners, I have the top 7 concerts of all time. We'll know this. I'm sure listeners have gone to a lot. So number 1, Taylor's Eras Tour, 2.1 billion, 149 shows. So that's 14 mil a show. This is all inflation adjusted.
So that gross per show is ridiculous, by the way. Look how much it is, 13.9, but 14 million a show.
We'll walk through the economics of each show, how much you'll walk away with. Coldplay, Music of the Spheres. I'm guessing, I'm sure a lot of listeners went to that one. 175 shows, 1.1 bill. U2, 360 Degrees. This was a legendary one. That's when they built the giant claw. Do you guys remember this concert? That was 997 mil, not quite a billy. Then Elton John, Farewell Yellow Brick Road. That was 2018 to 2023, 940, but that was over 330 shows. So, and then Ed Sheeran crushed it, man. Dude, Ed Sheeran puts up numbers, man. Can you guys speak a bit to Ed Sheeran? That's a British cat right there, right?
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, there's a few British cats in here, which is cool.
Oh, yeah, there's Elton a lot, John. But, Rolling Stones next, and Guns N' Roses.
U2 Irish, but...
Yeah, Irish.
Near enough.
Can you actually guys tell me about Ed Sheeran? Because I didn't realize how big he was. Have you guys known that this guy's
Yeah, he's a beast. And songwriter, right, produce, I think he's full stack.
Oh, yeah,
full stack, yeah.
Well,
have you seen the original
case,
video?
Right?
on SBTV, Jack.
You
We've
don't-
probably sent it to each
You
other.
need
there.
me, that one. Yeah,
That
incredible.
one, yeah. And he's doing the guitar.
Wait, what
and
is
he's
that?
doing
What's that?
So SBTV was this British YouTube channel for, like, in air quotes, urban music. So it was like the music of the youth was the original thing, and so he basically recorded this video of Ed Sheeran when he was kind of unknown. He wasn't famous at the time. He was basically doing stuff like in person, just on the streets and stuff. And he recorded him, and he's basically like jamming on the drums as well, and he's also doing the guitar and he's singing at the same time. Then he starts kind of rapping a little bit. It's just like he's a full stack, as Jack said, musician, like incredible.
Beast.
Everything.
Right,
Beast, yeah.
Everything. Incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Really funny guy too, by the way. Like, if you've seen any of his interviews, he's like seems like a good laugh to hang out with.
Mate,
It's
do you ever
pretty
watch
crazy.
the Red Nose Day people just do nothing thing with him?
Oh, yeah.
Wait, what is that? What is that? What is that?
You
It's
gotta watch
Jack's
this
favorite show.
Yeah, this
Go on.
sitcom's called People Just Do Nothing. It's about these lads that run a pirate radio station, and there's like this skit they do with Ed Sheeran, and you have to watch it. I'll send you the clip of it, but they're just he's a good sport. Like, doesn't take himself too seriously. He's a funny guy.
That's what I love about him. Actually, is like that was the instinct I got just watching his like random interviews. Just a really pretty
lad.
chill dude, right? Just
Yeah.
probably goes to the pub. Probably goes to like stags with his homies, like the
Oh, yeah.
golf pub that you and Bilal do, one where you have a drink at
The
18
golf
different.
pub, yeah. Pub golf,
yeah,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
right up his street, man. He's a product of the same era and culture.
Wait, where's
for
he
sure.
from? Where's he from?
I don't know. South,
Not London,
West
right?
England,
Milton
somewhere. I
Keynes or
feel
something.
like.
Let me check.
Yeah.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, you guys find that. So I'll walk through the Taylor Swift
Yeah.
economics for each. So each show was 14 mil. So these are the
Yorkshire.
expenses. Yorkshire. Okay. So
Oh, damn. Yeah, he doesn't really sound it, right? He's kind of
Raised in Suffolk, mate. That's why.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
what's
fair
up with
enough.
Suffolk? Give us a breakdown for the listeners
Yeah, I
that
don't
aren't from the.
even-
I don't have much of an opinion, but it's definitely a lot further south than Yorkshire. That's why
was
it
gonna
doesn't
say,
sound
yeah.
a certain way. Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
guys, let me do the quick economics breakdown. And I know opine at any point because I know you both have gone to a lot of concerts. So we're talking 14 mil a show, right? On average. About 67, so 10 million tickets sold in total for the 149 shows. That's about 67,000 per show. So this is how the breakdown is for the gross for just for ticket sales. 30% goes to the stadium. Pretty big chunk there. 20% goes to staging, so it's just the crew setting up everything. 10% goes to the promoter. So that leaves her 40% gross. That's a 5.6 million a show. Now here's a kicker. The merch. Y'all know that merch game is where that high margin money gets made. So it's estimated, I've seen estimates between 2 and 3 million. So I'm just going to call it 67,000 people at each show, $50 each, which is, dude, what are the t-shirts at this thing? A t-shirt is like $100, right? It's insane. So let's say she does, everybody buys $50 worth. That's 3.4 million a show. 30% goes to the stadium. Incredible for the stadium, by the way. So you add those two numbers up, that's 8 million a show. Multiply that by 149, that's 1.2 billion. This is pre-tax. And then she cut off 200 million in bonuses to her crew and performers. So I repeat, 200 million in bonuses. This is on top of their salaries. Life-changing money. I posted this actually on socials and people are like, she should have given more. I'm like, Jesus, man. She gave 10% of the show to her cast and crew on top of paying them. It's like, yeah, because you give it more
I
probably.
don't think
but
people understand how much like 10% is like compared that
Dude,
to
it's insane,
any business.
dude,
People
for
don't
a-
realize margins of a business like is
no, exactly, right?
you know what I mean? It's
She
not.
basically gave away 30% of her profit to her cast and crew. Who they obviously
Yeah.
earned it, right? Because as I speak to, incredible show. So add it all up, she walked away with 983 pre-tax, which is absolutely obscene, man. So the way I'll wrap up this section quickly is, so I went on Saturday, ended up going with my son, one of his classmates, and her mom. So Stunna don't look too, sketchy in this in this stadium anymore.
There we go. You're blended in now.
But now there's a bit of a dilemma. You're asking,
I love that Trump be calling himself Stunner still.
yeah, Stunner. Right? You're asking,
third person.
that third person. You're asking for these kids to roll up at a 7 p.m. show at their bedtime. So, Jack, what's the key? What do you do when you got to keep a kid up? What do you ply them with? That cotton candy, son.
Sugar,
oh,
I
yeah.
suppose, yeah.
Roll into the stadium.
RFK would not be happy there, Trunk. And
No, I got to
Dried
do it, right?
mango or something, mate. Yeah.
Exactly, right? Rolled up, hit them up with that cotton candy real quick. And then you get them with the slushy. And then you got a 4-hour show. And I mean, my takeaway is this, man. She's a juggernaut. This will be the biggest concert ever. We talked about this last year when we talked about the show. This is the perfect storm, right? Right after COVID, she had to cancel a concert in 2020. So there's 6 years of pent up demand. She
that
released 6
millennial
new
buying
albums.
power, looking for experiences.
Looking for experiences. She had released 6 albums between the Reputation tour in 2018, which was massive, 450 mil on that tour. And then 2023, when Eras tour started, and people just waiting to spend money coming out of COVID, and she had gotten so much bigger, and she was no longer just appealing to 13-year-old girls, right? Like, certain fathers, 30-year-old fathers of Asian descent were interested in this show.
Trung, are you full on Swiftie now? Like, what's your status?
I mean, I go to the old school stuff. Like, the listeners here will know, like, the love story stuff, Along With Me.
School.
And like when my son, like I finally incepted him, like driving him to school, I was making, like, I was incepting. That's throwing in Cruel Summer, throwing in a little bit of Shake It Off, getting a little bit excited. I mean, it was his first big concert. I think he's happy about it. But here's my last 2 takeaways. Energy's insane, man. You guys have gone to big concert. Jack went to famously Oasis's last a live concert.
That's incredible.
Yeah,
to be fair,
incredible. Yeah. And but this one, I had never been to a place. Again, I'm not as well versed as Jack is in these type of concerts. Just the pandemonium, man, is like when you had 60,000 full-on Swifties cheering, standing O, you could just feel it, right? So like in Seattle, they measured it as a 2.3 Richter scale earthquake equivalent. Insane. And then her fitness level. This is the thing. This was my massive takeaway. She did not stop for 3.5 hours. She did 44 songs, 25 costume changes. 3.5 hours, did not stop once. Dancing, singing, different acts. You just realize, like, she's an Olympic athlete, right? That's essentially what the commitment to this was. And just give you an idea, from the Time magazine profile of her last year, she was Time Person of the Year last year. This was her cardio routine in the lead up to the Eras tour, which she spent a year preparing for. Every day, this is her speaking. Every day I would run on the treadmill, singing the entire set list out loud. She would crank up the speed on the treadmill for the fast songs and a jog or fast walk for the slow songs. That's 3.5 hours on the treadmill singing out the entire set. This is on top of everything else she does.
Yeah.
Dude, it's just an absolute animal. So
Respect.
That's it. Final thought, I didn't buy any merch. I didn't get suckered, but I did get mogged by the $35 tenders and fries. So don't worry. The stadium got me, not Taylor. The stadium got me. But yeah, incredible show. That's my review.
Respect. Yeah, I mean, pretty wild numbers. Should we wrap it here, boys, or did you want to? Was there anything else on that, Trung?
Gosh, should I just do tinfoil hat hour?
Do you want to do 5 minutes on it?
I'll do 5 minutes. I'll do
it
super quick. Okay, here. Let me just. Do you guys feel free to answer or not? Do you guys want to answer any of the questions about to ask about the? You know what? I'm gonna rant.
You just go for it, and we'll add as needed.
So last week, as I'm sure every single person listening saw, the CEO of United Healthcare, which is a subsidiary of United Healthcare Group. This is the largest insurer in America. I think 10 to 15% of the U.S. population goes to United Healthcare. He was murdered in New York in front of the Hilton Hotel. And you know what? We actually didn't talk about this on a podcast, but remember when the submarine imploded and there's this glee on the timeline? You guys remember that? The Titanic submarine. And a lot of the internet, a lot of socials were just like, oh, wow, these billionaires deserved it, right? And that meant just sick. It's just like that's the sentiment. I get there's 2 thoughts that people need to be able to hold, and that I saw the internet completely fail doing. There's 2 thoughts. One, shouldn't be murdering executives. Cold blood. That shouldn't happen. Second thought, yes, America's healthcare system is really bad. It's a disaster. And there are a lot of problems with it. Those two thoughts is what most sane people should be able to hold in their heads. And that's just not what happened with the internet when this happened. A lot of glee from, we call it communist Twitter, that a CEO, executive of a Fortune 50 was murdered in cold blood. But the reason I bring this all up, here's my tinfoil hat, and we should just link to it. But so the murderer was caught, alleged, he was charged, was a
But by the way, this is an
26-year-old.
evolving story. So this is Tuesday, December 10th, 2 p.m. EST. We're right now. So
The
things will change
suspect
from
is
now.
a 26-year-old, a UPenn graduate from one of the wealthier families in Maryland, and he was arrested yesterday at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania. And listen, man, the memes yesterday, the internet's sick, dude. Like, did I look at some of the memes and be like, listen, objectively, was that like a meme as an art form on the story? Was it good? Sure. But like, oh my, like, this is just wild, man. But the thing I want to say, this is a tinfoil hat, was, do you guys ever read Scott Alexander's blog, the Codex? You guys ever read this? Slate Star Codex.
No, I haven't seen that, no.
He's one of the most popular writers for like the Silicon Valley type. But he has an amazing blog and essay. It's called The Scissor. It's about the scissor theory. He's like, imagine that you wanted to divide a society, right? If you wanted to divide a society, you make a scissor statement. I mean, we know what this felt like. We've seen it before. Like it happened in 2020 with George Floyd. It happened in 1993 with 1994 with OJ. Like, you know, these things that divide society along lines. The thing about this case, and there's an anonymous Twitter account called Vittorio, who's Italian. I believe he lives in America now. I think we should link to it because he went through the entire history of the murder suspect. And this just has the hallmarks.
Dude's name again, Luigi what?
Yeah, Luigi Mangione. And I believe that means Luigi's Mansion. And just, again, talking about the memes, which we're not going to bring up here.
Yeah,
the Sopranos-related memes about this story they've been absolutely out of control. The Chris Maltasante and Tony Soprano memes, ridiculous. Internet, you're wild. But this is like a scissor. This is something you do to divide a society, right? And I would, to our listeners, all I say is like, be very careful about how this story is portrayed. And then just be cognizant of the fact that if you wanted to divide America, you would do it along healthcare. You do it along class, right? Because this is like the perfect story. You saw the way that the internet reacted to this, right? You would think that people would be able to hold these two thoughts that I had mentioned earlier, that murdering somebody in cold blood is bad and that the healthcare system is bad. Those are two thoughts that can be held, right? Anybody can hold those two thoughts. But you're watching how this plays out. It just has the hallmarks of I'm not going to say deep state. That's what the post says, but it's the idea of like, if you want to divide a society, this is the way you would do it, right? So just as you're monitoring this news, that's just all I want to bring up.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a public service announcement. Do you guys see what I'm saying?
Yeah, fair enough. No, I get you. Yeah, fair play. Nice way to wrap it up, Trung.
Yeah.
Uniting the
sorry,
people.
we wrapped up on that. Yeah.
No, it's all good. That's good.
Trying to give a PSA, man. Just trying to give a PSA.
Jack, anything to add?
No, man. Just let the conspiracies spin.
Yeah, 100%.
See
One of my favorite things
where it's
was
at next week.
I met an NI listener in person, like I think a month ago, and he was saying one of my favorite things on the pod is when I say to Jack, anything to add, and Jack has the restraint to say nothing to add here. And I agree. Very, very good. No, but all jokes aside, pretty wild week. That has been pretty mental to follow.
Yeah,
the
so Inside
Goodreads
Baseball
stuff,
for listeners.
the Goodreads stuff is
the
quite
Goodreads
interesting
stuff
to
is
jump
just
into because
we could go down that rabbit hole, but we're not going
How
to.
many
Right?
how many mutuals do you have with this guy, Trung?
Yeah, and did he follow you actually?
He did not. But for the listeners that we'll just add one more thing here is like he was extremely active online. But listen, I'm gonna put another tinfoil hat here. Somebody that a lot of people have said, we know more about this guy after 24 hours than we do about the person that tried to kill Trump.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I'm saying. We know there's a massive trail, a digital trail. We know more about this guy in 24 hours than we do 4 months later from somebody that literally almost started like an American Civil War, right? So something to think about. But let me tie this with some Inside Baseball people. We're doing double record, so we need to wrap it up now. Tinfoil hats off. And
It's Christmas period.
we're preparing stuff for the holidays. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys next week.
Cheers. Bye-bye. All right, boys. You need a break for a minute, or do you need to use the
Like a
restroom?
slash.
All right, quick one. Nice one. That was great.
right.
That was chock-a-block. Very good.
Okay,
All right,
awesome.
I'll be
Awesome,
back in
guys.
two as well.
Peace out.